This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Rayven Greer.
Hey, it's Rayven. I wanted to announce 2 new affiliate programs that Smoking Out the Closet is now a part of. First, I would like to announce a Pittsburgh local company, The Hemp Co., with 2 E's in The. They offer hemp-derived products including Delta 8 and Delta 9 gummies, vape cartridges, and pre-rolls, HHC vape cartridges, and sustainably used devices and products. All products are made with hemp bioplastic for all your cannabis device needs. And every product is third-party lab tested, DEA certified, and Farm Bill compliant. If you're looking to visit them in person, you can visit them at 20280 Route 19, Number 3, Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, 16066, or online at theehempco.com. Be sure to use SOTC20 at checkout for 20% off on us. And we're also wildly excited about our partnership with Blazy Susan. They offer their iconic Blazy Susan rolling tray, as well as papers and cones in unbleached hemp, their famous pink, and their brand new purple colors. Follow our affiliate link in the show notes and use Blazy10, BLAZY10, for 10% off on checkout. Now, on with the episode. Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I am Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Now, a couple of things before we start the episode. We want to apologize for missing last week, mostly just because of schedule issues with something that's going on Alex's end, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And just maintenance issues with our apartment that the guys had to come in. So there was that. And then the second thing I wanted to say, if we do sound a little different, I'm not sure how this episode is going to sound till I get to the editing stage, but we changed locations of where we're recording in the apartment. So we're now in our game room / studio.
And honestly, if this sounds better, we could record in here. I feel like it's not as echoey, and I don't have to be as loud.
Yeah, it's a smaller room. And worst case, I can put some that
foam
egg carton. Plus, we're in chairs that are not as squeaky.
Also, this is really comfy. I'm in my butterfly chair, so I can sit as gay as I want.
So first thing, do you want to get to the review?
Yeah, we're doing stuff a little different this week. With our review.
Yeah, we're do you want to introduce it, actually?
Yeah, we're not going to be reviewing the product that we're utilizing, the marijuana product, so to speak. We're going to be reviewing the mode. So we had a paper comparison. Our friends over at Blazy Susan had sent us a care package. Hello, everybody over there. I do apologize if we have been bugging you with all of our product requests. They're backed up over there. We get it. But we really appreciate the holiday present. But we're going to be reviewing Blazy Susan's rolling papers, the 100 thins, the 100 slims to the raw, hemp unbleached 100 slims, because we don't have any just regular raw rolling papers. We always just buy the hemp ones.
Actually, let me grab the actual leftovers and the papers real quick.
Okay, so we're using a strain we've used before. It's War Pigs. I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on the podcast before. Yeah, we did, because about the song comparison. But Blazy Susan, for those of you who don't know, is mostly an online company that sells rolling papers, trays, these little Lazy Susan kind of like rolly deals that you can put all your stuff on, and it spins around like Lazy Susan for on your kitchen table. But they have a pink line of things, which is their original color, which is what their rolling papers were. And then they also have a purple line, which is what they sent us in the holiday package. And then they sent us some other things. We'll be getting to those eventually, but right now we're just going to be doing the papers. They also have tips. We are using on-brand tips for each joint. So Raw does have a Raw pre-perforated foldable tip.
No.
Or was that the just roller, the flat tip that you used for that?
We ran out of those pre-perforated. These are both just the flat tips that you can like bend and everything yourself.
Yeah.
Now I did grab the reason why I grabbed the packaging here is this actually the one we use is their raw classic, purest natural fibers unrefined. They're both king size slims, which you said the 100 millimeter I think is the actual length.
Yeah, there's hundreds, and then there's kings. Kings are 70, no, they're 82s. Kings are 82s, so just a little bit shorter. The only reason I know that is because I used to work at a convenience store where we sold cigarettes, so these are technically 100 size, but they call them kings.
So I will say, so they're both kings, both regular just rolling paper. They say they're both GMO free, both vegan. But the interesting thing about Blazy Susan, they're also chlorine free.
Nice.
According to the packaging. So yeah, we thought these were hemp. We were using it,
but they're not. They're the raw
not.
classics.
They're just unbleached, unrefined.
And we just have the Blazy
Susan
Susan purple rolling papers.
Yeah, just happens to be purple.
Which I like their purple line. I don't really think. I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I don't really like pink.
I don't either.
Got pinked out with my mother having breast cancer 3 times. I'm over pink. I've had my hair pink. I have a pink tattoo.
There's probably some trauma associated with that
somewhere along the line. Definitely. I was like 13, I think, when my mom first got breast cancer. So that's a thing. But I love purple. Purple is like my happy color. It's just a nice, cozy color for me. And I like these papers. Now, I will say, once you get the actual herb material in there, it doesn't look nearly as purple.
But that's just because how color theory works.
That's how colors work.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Now I will say, between the two, and I'm gonna, because we kind of passed them around and used them. Now wind is a factor on this.
It's cold and windy as shit outside.
So they both fingernailed a little bit, but yeah, comparing the two, I'd say that the Blazy Susan is, I don't know, what would you say, about like not even a centimeter shorter?
Yeah. They did say, didn't they say they were long burning, or is these the ones that said they were slow burning?
Yeah, Blazy Susan says they're slow burning.
Yeah, or slow burning, ultra thin vegan papers made from the finest wood pulp for your ultimate smoking pleasure. That's what it says on the inside of the package.
But I will say you did also have to relight that one right before we decided to stop.
Yeah.
So I mean, while we were using the raw paper was shorter for most of it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say wind's a factor there, so I'm gonna count it as kind of even on that side. But the flavor,
there's a difference. There is a noticeable difference when you have them side by side. And I have talked about, I know, the Bob Marley papers before on this show, because that's what I used the longest time in college. The raw papers definitely better than the Bob Marleys. The Blazy Susan, however, I think is going to be my personal new rolling papers. They don't have I don't know what, I think there's something under there, and I taste it also in the Bob Marley papers, now stepping back from the raw papers slightly, because it's something about the way they make their papers. I think that's what it is. I don't know what, I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's that same taste. And it's a weird kind of chemically something, it's covering a little bit of the taste of what's inside. And since we had the same strain from the same batch and the same container even, it was noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, raw does say they're unbleached and unrefined. So I'm wondering if it's literally just something either in the plant that they use to make the paper, or like you were saying, it's something in the process itself. Now I will make one major thing notice here. Raw paper, their paper is all made in Spain, while Blazy Susans are all made in France.
It might be the kind of tree they're using.
Could be the water. There's so many factors there.
Where, now I'm curious. This isn't what the episode's about at all. But if we look at the Bob Marley papers, I think I still have them and see where they're made and see maybe that might be a thing.
We could do that. I do like doing these like product comparisons, so we might do another episode with like Blazy Susan versus like Bob Marley.
Absolutely. But I think Blazy Susan gives a cleaner taste profile for what is inside the paper than raw.
And I will say, this is just personal preference here for me, but Blazy Susan, when you pull the paper out, it pulls towards you, while
raw pulls away from you, which feels kind of weird.
It
but
does.
I mean, for your thumbs, what you accidentally just did,
yeah,
to push your thumbs up on it, but that's pull forward. I don't know. I like just the packaging too of the Blazy Susan stuff.
True. I also like, now this is also personal preference, that Blazy Susan has a bunch of other stuff besides just regular rolling papers, which we have pictures of on our podcast, Instagram, and Twitter. So definitely keep an eye out on that. But yeah, I think honestly it's kind of a close call on this because they both kind of burn very similar. They're both GMO-free, unbleached rolling papers. Use the same strain, but I think it's something probably in the filter that is giving it an issue.
The filter or the paper?
The filter.
Okay.
And honestly, it could be the paper too, but it's just the taste is kind of what was a factor. The raw paper kind of muted it. So I felt like I tasted more of the actual strain's full potential with Blazy Susan.
Yeah.
So in the case of Raw versus, in the match of Raw versus Blazy Susan, I'm going to say Blazy Susan is the winner.
Yes.
And this is not because we're an affiliate of Blazy Susan.
They are hearing this for the first time just alongside you. They didn't pay us to say this.
We wanted to give a fair comparison to the product. Like I want to do a Puffco versus our Dr. Dabber down the road. I want to do I like the idea of doing product comparisons because I feel like Raw is easily more accessible. Blazy Susan, because you can buy it in big packages, ends up being cheaper.
They also ship all over the place. So you can just get stuff shipped.
So with that, I wanted to bring up one major good news. We were originally going to say it last week. Everyone's probably already talked about it, but we're able to talk about kind of the repercussions and, everyone stateside, what they're doing. Britney Griner has finally come home. And I feel like it's a good thing, but a lot of people are complaining about it. And what I've seen from online is a lot of people are like, oh, we traded a international arms dealer for this, and Britney Griner, who is a tall woman, has a slightly deeper voice for a woman. And so everyone's complaining, oh, she only got out because she was gay. Oh, she only got out because she's high profile. These are the same people who were saying we need to get her out. She's an American. The same people that if this was during the Red Scare would have been, we need to get an American out from the commies,
Yeah.
And that's where the biggest issue I'm having is because they're like, well, how come we didn't get this Marine out, right? And I'm drawing a blank on his name right now.
You're talking about the guy from Pennsylvania?
No. That's a totally different guy.
Okay.
Because the guy for, I think it's Matt or Mike, was caught bringing in almost 100 grams worth of cannabis, or roughly, if I recall correctly, where Britney Griner had 2 used vape cartridges, which in Russian law would have been a few $100 to $1,000 fine.
Yeah.
But because she brought it in, which kind of became a gray area and more punishable, but they kept her past, they kept pushing off the trial. And we talked about this before, and I talked about it more in depth on Cadabra's podcast, Smoke to Smoke, which check that out. But because it was being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, it became basically a Geneva Convention violation and an illegal detainment. Now, with the Marine that is there, the issue with him is because they're like, oh, he's a Marine, but then when they learn, like, they're ignoring, like, if he was stateside and convicted of crime as a Marine, they would have, like, scoffed at him because he was dishonorably discharged. He got court-martialed for doing some shady shit in the military.
Eyebrow raise.
Yeah. But the reason why he is over there and it's harder for him to get out is essentially Russia's convinced he's or trying him for espionage. That becomes a very big grayer area and a lot more convoluted than someone just being arrested for pot.
Yeah.
So it was basically trade this guy and hope to get Britney out and hope to get someone else out or nobody. So that being said, we're glad that Britney's home. We also could be doing a lot more to get people who were arrested here in the States for cannabis for even less than she was arrested for out of prison here in the States. And a lot of people are bringing that up. Now, I'm in the boat. I'm not sure how you feel about this. I'm in the boat where I can be happy she's home and still kind of bring up the hypocrisy of our criminal system.
Oh, absolutely.
With this. Because it is super hypocritical. And we need to work on that. And the issue is it's a politic chess game, it seems like, and I fucking hate chess.
Yeah, at this point, it isn't about the people. It's about the words are
about
hard.
Looking good.
Yeah, it's about who's doing what for who and how everybody could benefit in. Oh, well, I remember this time where I let one of your people come back home to you. Can you do this thing for me?
Mm-hmm.
America needs some more money.
Yeah, it's a big. I mean, that's why I think Britney was detained in the first place, is because she's a high-profile individual, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, like it matters. She's in the WNBA." I'm like, she's a fucking American that was illegally detained.
Yeah,
like, sure, she was arrested for accidentally smuggling. Okay, give her the shortest version of the charge to be fair, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, they kept pushing the due date, and she was there past the original, basically she was there too long before court.
Yeah,
that's when it became an issue.
Yeah.
You have good news.
I do.
Too. Do you want to bring both of them up?
Both of them? Okay.
Both of them. Ouch,
so which one happened first? The communal good news.
Yes.
So as you already know, is the whole premise of the podcast. Rayven is trans. She's been on HRT for how many years now, babe?
27. So 5 years, 6 years in March.
6 years in March, Rayven has been on HRT. And I am now 2 weeks on testosterone. I started a low dose of tea going to my new super inclusive, amazing doctor. And she has helped me so much with everything. Actually giving a shit. I have a doctor now who gives a shit. It's crazy. But this morning, actually, I'm recording this because we're recording on a Monday instead of a Sunday. I just got my second shot of tea, and Rayven has switched over from pills to injections now, yeah. Hoping to kind of guide stuff in the way she wants to see it. And I'm trying this out. I'm seeing where it goes. I'm riding it.
I'm happy for you. Do you want to talk about some of the effects?
Yeah. How blatant can I be? Very.
Yeah, this isn't no kids should be listening to the podcast. I have it set for explicit for a reason because of cannabis. So do whatever.
So the first thing I noticed about 24 hours after my first testosterone shot, now I'm on 0.2 milliliters of testosterone.
Milliliters?
Milligrams?
Milligrams.
Not milliliters. That's a lot of testosterone.
That's a lot of boy juice.
A lot of boy juice. Small boy juice. Listen, okay. I get confused with abbreviations. I think I might be dyslexic. I get confused with abbreviations. What's a face for?
It might be dyslexic. I'm pretty
sure I'm dyslexic. Is that another one of those things that's genetic?
I don't know.
If it is, I'm probably am because my mother is. But so milligram, 0.2 milligrams of testosterone once a week. First thing I noticed about 24 to 48 hours later, I'm fucking horny. Oh my god. And it is random and it's weird. Yep. I was standing on an escalator going to a Penguins game and I was just like, horny.
Yeah.
The TikTok sound. Ah, what? What the hell's wrong with you? Sex. What? Sex. No, that's me. Just randomly throughout the day. It's great.
Now I will say you're experiencing what AMAB people like to affectionately call
no reason boners. Speaking of which
it's not the full name. It is no apparent reason boners, or NARB.
NARB. Speaking of which, things are sensitive with pants. It's interesting. Very sensitive. And I'm very aware of where my clit is now.
Yep, have fun with that.
Like when I pierced my nipples, I became aware of where they are. I'm now very aware of my clit.
Mm-hmm. Good luck with that.
So those are two things I noticed. My throat fucking hurts. Okay. I don't know if that's because I'm sick.
That could be because you're sick. I highly doubt you're going to have any vocal cord growth yet.
I have seen online. It varies from person to person, just like everything does, like we do in the cannabis industry. Some people as early as 3 to 5 days on testosterone, their voice starts changing.
Wow. They might already have high testosterone, though, in their body.
They might. Where was I at on the scale? I wasn't on the low end of AFAB people with testosterone, but I wasn't super high. I was like a little bit higher than the middle.
Okay.
So kind of 3/4 of the way towards the high side for testosterone. But because like I get my little chinny hair boys and my little facey hair boys. But like that's about what I've noticed so far. I can't sleep. I am having an adamantly rougher time falling asleep because I am like, well, I'm gonna lay here and I'm aware of it. I think it shuts off a little bit of like the noise going on in my head. I don't know if that was just me, maybe.
Oh, I don't
know.
The
way that my depression's changing or what's happening. There's a lot of factors going on here. But when I'm laying down at night, it's just like, God damn it, I can't sleep. And I can't even pretend to force myself to try to fall asleep. I can't even fake. It's just like, I'm awake. I'll lay in bed for an hour now.
Maybe you need to try some cannabis before bed.
Yeah, I have been doing that recently, like prior. My issue is sometimes I'll get groggy in the morning. But I'm thinking about maybe doing some RSO because like I've been having some body achy stuff going on too. Muscles ache and I'm aware of them and they feel bulky. Like it's a perception thing, I guess. It's since I started taking tea, I've perceived myself differently. And I don't know if that is like psychological or if that is.
I mean, you could be getting euphoria from it.
I could be. But I am aware of my muscles in my arms and they hurt for like no apparent reason, but they're there and they're strong. And like my shoulders were kind of achy and like, I feel like that's about all I've felt so far. But like I said, I've also been sick.
Yeah.
But and those two going together.
And it's only been, as of this recording, your second shot.
Yeah. So this is my second week. Going into the second week. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking about that. I was making a TikTok, one of those stereotypical trends people TikToks of, this is my voice, blah, 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 blah. 1 week on replacing my spaghetti on my blood with spaghetti. I can't remember if I said 1 week or this is 2 weeks.
You did both. You did. This is your first day.
My voice 1 day on tea, and this is my voice 1 week.
Yeah.
On testosterone.
On tea.
Okay.
But
yeah, have you felt anything different with your E?
I feel like my chest has kicked back to growing, which it should have plateaued, but if I recall correctly, the last place I was going, they were trying to keep my my testosterone levels at 150, whatever the unit of measure is. Our current goal is 50.
Because mine is at 70. When I tested, I should have just said that right out there. You're gonna get if anybody's listening for research purposes, they test you coming into to HRT.
Yes.
I was at a 70. So if they're trying to keep you at 150, that's still, I feel like, max for an AFAB person on their scale they were looking at is like 110 without masculization effects.
Yeah, they said 150, and they said because that is the levels for a cis woman after puberty. I have to go through puberty to get there.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to 50, I think, with our current doctor that we have.
Yeah, because
I love her. I love them.
That's no.
Yeah, I know.
You're only a little bit older than me, and the way that I learned a little bit about how the endocrine system works. I'm not a doctor, but it shouldn't be that much higher. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
not a good.
Now we're doctors who know what they're doing. This is what they do. This is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They do. They're all eyes for health and well-being in Pittsburgh. They're great. We love them. They're not in Pittsburgh. They're out on what is that considered shady side. But they are amazing. They do HRT, they do PrEP, they do full panel STI screenings.
Yeah, they were originally like a AIDS clinic back in the 80s, and they kind of just expanded it to the entire community. They do like mental health stuff as well.
They do gynecological appointments, and it's not dysphoric, and it's not invasive. And they're just amazing people over there, every single one of them. But that's our shared good news, we started our injections.
Yeah, you also got
I also
personal good news.
Have more good news. I have a new job and I got a promotion.
Good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone. Yes, I got a promotion. And I am now in a union position. I'm working for another cannabis dispensary. I'm still not allowed to say who. And I'm not saying who I left because you still work there. Mm-hmm. But if you know me in real life, you know where I'm working and who I'm with. The whole internet doesn't need to know. If you know, you know. IYK. But yeah, it's exciting. I finished up my first, technically, I guess, 4-day week. Because I did 3 days last week on Sunday. Yeah. And then I'm off today, Monday. And God, the people there are cool. There's only one person I haven't met yet. The one person who usually sits in admissions. They've been on vacation. There's trans folk. I'm real excited. Everybody seems fucking cool. My boss almost made me cry on my first day. And I told him this. And because he's like, I want everybody to feel comfortable. I'm like, I'm going to back you guys 100%, meaning managers. Yeah. I'm going to back you guys 100%. Before, the staff. And then it's, those guys, if they're having issues with patients, if you're having issues with patients, I'm going to back you over the patients. Mm-hmm. Because you need to feel safe and comfortable here. And I want you to be excited to come to work. I don't want you coming in the parking lot being like, fucking gotta go in here again. No, I want you being here like early, ready to go, coming in, saying hi, talking to people. Like, I want you to be excited to be here. And when you're here, you don't have to worry about outside shit. And when you're outside of here, don't worry about it here. This place doesn't fucking exist. And like,
when you're here, your family.
No, he even said, listen, we're not a family. We're building a team. That family, you hate your fucking family. You see him twice a year. You can't fucking stand it. We don't want that to be like his here.
I don't hate my family.
Most of my family. It's the stereotypical. I hate that. How our culture is like, I hate your family. That's used to the monster-in-law thing for the longest time. I love my mother-in-law. She's great. I call her mom. She's awesome. But the stereotypical, like, goddamn fucking Thanksgiving, Christmas, gotta go home, pretend I'm not queer, pretend I'm cis, do this, that. No. We have a very unique situation, and I'm very happy for it. And the holidays have been a lot easier for me since I found this out. And I was so scared that first time I went to the holidays with you, when your parents, and I was terrified. And now I'm like, when are we going back? Like, when are we going to go see them?
I also think it's funny that you were terrified to visit my parents with the trans oldest, for my mom, the kids my mom birthed. The trans girl and the lesbian daughters.
Your mom makes some fucking gay kids.
That's a joke in her family that because she used to wear men cut jeans all the time, that she just makes queer kids. To be fair, she is a tall lady. I think I got her beat by like an inch in height.
Yeah.
I might have shrunk a little now that I'm on hormone. Like since my hormones, I haven't gotten measured in a few years.
But yeah,
you definitely seem a lot happier at this location. I will say the location you were working at before sucked.
Yeah. And that was that location specific.
Yes.
Because other places that other people I know of that worked for the same company, then they were like, it's not fucking like that here.
Uh-huh.
When I left, everybody was like, oh my God, Alex, this is such a surprise. I wasn't expecting. I'm like, bitch, I was thinking about this for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Bitch generally. Bitch as in company bitch, not bitches in my manager. I love you. But yeah, I was thinking about it for a bit. Ever since our staff got split and we had part-timers and we had to deal with those assholes and the way that patient situation wasn't handled correctly. I told my new location this, and they were like, they would have been fucking banned. What are you telling me? They just put a note in his file. I'm like, yeah. So I feel safe at work.
That's good.
And like the guards are cool. And like the staff is cool. We have inventory people that do our inventory. That's all they do. That's cool. They're also cool.
Do you want to talk about the little like vault door thing you were telling me about?
Yeah, so like our vault, right, is this big room. It's not like we used to have like a weird like classic style vault, which you'd think of like with a big door and shit.
Uh-huh.
But this is just rooms also locked. Just not everybody has vault access of an inventory managers. But the wall between the vault and the sales floor, we have like our counter set up for our online orders where we put those.
Yeah.
And this is the window. It's one-way glass. And then about the bottom 3 inches, or 3 or 4 inches, maybe 5, is open. So you can go up and it looks like a little bank window and has a little hole cut in. You're like, hey, I need more super silver tie. And you slide the basket under there, and the vault people are back there on their computer, and they'll be like, all right, yeah, sure, we'll get it. Push it back through the window for you. Or most of the time, they'll just walk it back out on the floor and actually put it on the shelf.
If you ever been to a military hospital, like on base, it's very similar to how the pharmaceuticals are dispensed. It reminds me of that a lot. At least the one that was in Fort Eustis in Virginia when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot like that.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. And like, we'll just sometimes like poke our head in the little hole and talk to them through the window sometimes.
You guys want lunch? Also, do you have any butter? My head is stuck.
The hole, I'm telling you, it's real small.
Oh, really?
It's like 4,
just enough for a container.
No, just enough for you to like stick your face at.
Oh.
And just talk in too. And then the bottom part is about 5 inches tall. There's no glass or anything.
Oh.
And you can slide. That's where you slide the things at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like those like the lane one in like a bank drive-through where they put like that little teller drawer thing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Oh, not the drawer. It's not like a push-out drawer.
But like that kind of size.
The size of the drawer?
Yeah.
No.
Smaller?
It's okay. So it's like you're going inside the bank. You're not outside the bank in the drive-through, right? Mm-hmm. You're in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And how they sometimes have like the plexiglass on the top between you and the person at the counter, but then they'll have that. It's just a 4-inch tall strip of like, say this table we're on is the top.
Yeah.
And your glass will stop about here. So 4 inches from the counter, and it's just there. It's just flat.
There's
There's no little divot things, because then you get your bin stuck.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, that is the setup that I think is super fucking cool.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you want to talk about anything else before we go on the break?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But that was my news. I thought everybody should know, and I wanted to talk about. So.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna go on break, and we'll have some messages from our, I guess, sponsors. Technically, the people who we're affiliates with their affiliate programs. But we'll be back after our little ads for them.
Woo. Hey there, it's Alex from Smoking Out the Closet. We've been so glad to be able to make this podcast for you, and we now have some partners who are happy to help make this podcast happen as well. Our friends over at DaVinci Vapors have sent us one of their many amazing products, the IQC Dry Herb Vaporizer. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you've heard us talk about DaVinci, and we've even used the IQC on the show. With a half-gram dry herb chamber, 30-second heat up time, precision temperature control, removable and rechargeable 18650 battery, and an on time of 2 hours, what's not to love about the DaVinci IQC? Well, what if we told you can get an extra 15% off just for listening to this podcast? That's right, use the code SOTC15 for 15% off at checkout site-wide. Thanks again to our friends over at DaVinci Vapors, and now, back to the episode.
Alrighty, and we are back. So one thing I wanted to talk about recently is Kalifa Kush recently launched here in Pennsylvania, and Wiz Khalifa stopped here in Pittsburgh. I didn't go at all. You didn't go.
I didn't
either.
know this was happening.
Yeah, I think it was happening when you were at your new store now.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I was off that day and kind of just messaging around on Twitter and everything about it, and like it being a shit show. First off, it's being sold as a white label for True Leaf. Now, for those of you who don't know what a white label is basically the company, like say like Cookies. Cookies is a white label for I think Standard Farms.
Yeah.
Or Kind Tree.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's Kind Tree.
Yeah.
So basically, Cookies have their own dispensaries, grows, and everything out in like California. Here in Pennsylvania, they don't have the ability to set up a license or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they do a deal with a grow facility and an MSO or just a company here in Pennsylvania that's selling and growing cannabis.
Yeah.
As a white label. So basically, it's the same stuff they're growing. Maybe they bring in some of their genetics, but it's being grown by a company and it's already here, and they're just sticking the Cookies label on it. But we're doing that with Kalifa Kush, but it's being grown by True Leaf, a company that we are very disappointed in for multiple reasons. The worst MSO in the country. And we've gone on about that before.
And on and on and on.
So I had some patients that came into my dispensary recently over the last couple, days of the weeks, last 2 weeks. And they basically told me first off, they're $60 an eighth.
Good grief.
They are super dry. Yeah. Like you can break them with your finger, like roll them in your fingertips and it will break apart.
Is that worse than that shit we had from Standard Farms we haven't talked about?
The guava gum?
Yet?
Yeah. It's about that or worse.
Ew.
It's not worth the price. Wiz Khalifa, who is a Pittsburgh native, was supposed to be there for like 30 minutes. He was there for 2. Greeted some of the True Leaf higher ups, left.
Jeez.
Did not stay. Apparently it was an entire crap fest, shit show, whatever you want to call it. And people were highly disappointed in the products. Now I talked about, because True Leaf tweeted about it, Wiz Khalifa tweeted about it, and I said this is not a good look. And somebody was like, well, if it wasn't for True Leaf, we would still have ridiculously high cannabis prices. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
It's $60 an eighth.
And here's my thing. With True Leaf, like, even if True Leaf was the first to drop their prices, they have not dropped it by much.
The fucking Terrapin is $45 an eighth.
Not anymore.
No?
No.
Did they go down again?
They're $35 at most.
$35 an eighth.
They're
for
$45
Terrapin.
for their 7-gram shakes, I think.
I don't see a lot of those around here. But like,
they're at my store.
Terrapin, I feel like they've been around for fucking ever.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning of the game when we were allowed to have flour. I don't remember hearing jack shit about True Leaf until I got into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
What did they? Oh my god, this person.
And,
Did they not pay attention?
No, they were like, oh well, I've been into cannabis like since the 2016 when it first came legal or medical here. I've also like apparently was in like small time political like member of some place.
You didn't tell me that part. This
Yeah.
asshole makes a lot more sense now that he was in small time political. He's talking like that
according
on
to his profile.
He's talking like that on Twitter, like it's just his
Better
air.
than thou.
Yeah, holier than thou bullshit.
But I think it's funny because he's like, they're the True Leaf and Strain suck. I'm like, really? Because I really like their freaking products. Like, have you had it since the beginning? Because sometimes some facilities do have trouble getting off the ground. Like,
before Strain was Strain, they're holistic farms, and when they used to package as holistic farms, a lot of people got a bad taste in their mouth and they haven't retried them. That's your issue. You haven't retried them.
Just getting off the ground is kind of hard.
Yeah.
So that's why I've given people like a chance again. I wasn't too keen on G Leaf. I've tried them again.
I have a G Leaf disposable in my hand right now.
Like, I'm not too keen on their business practices, and I try not to buy them as much. But when you get an employee product for like $2,
I'm not gonna complain. This was $1.
So
it has no terps in it though, but yeah, whatever. Tastes like sugar cookies. I don't care.
But the thing is, and I want to bring this up next episode because there is a list I have of companies that do not support home grow. True Leaf's fucking one of them.
Fucking True Leaf.
And they're like, well, because like the reason why we have cheaper prices is competitive nature, but most of it is the current director of the medical program in our state is pushing and put paper like stuff in to make the prices lower because she is a former pharmacist for a cannabis dispensary. So she's been like, no, we're dropping the fucking prices. And I think she's implemented price caps. I'm not 100% sure about that, but she's been a big push for.
There, he yawned. His fucking breath stinks.
I thought they were like mine for a second.
No, it's the child in my lap right now.
She's basically been pushing for price drops, and he was like, "Well, Terrapin's the only company that's increased their prices, and for what, a hydro pack?" I'm like, "No." Verano with their Avexia line increased their RSO prices from like 60 to 75.
It's bullshit.
Like,
that made me mad.
They're not the only one. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just pulling this out of your ass. I'm doing this off my experience, my coworkers' experience, who've worked in the industry since the beginning, and patients who've been around since the beginning. No message after that. But I did put a final note on it. It was like, well, also, doing one good thing, even if they were the first one and kickstarted the lowering prices, doing one good thing does not excuse the entire full fucking list of shitty things that they do as a company.
That's like us saying, oh, yeah, the fucking, I can't even remember the name of it, homophobic chicken. Chick-fil-A donated money once to this company, this organization who kind of has a thing with LGBT people, but not recently, and we'll just take that as like, oh, well, then they're kind of good enough for us to go and eat at. No, they still give like money to conversion therapy camps. And they've still done this laundry list of shitty things like True Leaf. Just because you do one kind of good thing doesn't make any of this other shit any better. It does not. One right does not right all of those wrongs.
Exactly. And I never got any messages back. I get a like on it occasionally because it's through our podcast and everything. But yeah, nothing. Not a hair from this person again.
Cricket.
Yep. Do you want to advertise something for our friend Kadabra that we brought them up earlier for
yes.
the smoke podcast.
That's also my other good news that I wanted to talk about on the podcast. Kadabra, did an episode with you. Did we talk about this last episode? I don't think
we didn't have one last week.
We didn't have one last week.
Because
the week
scheduling
before. When did I record that episode with them? God, time's not real.
You recorded it before we were supposed to record the day before we were supposed to record our episode, but then the maintenance thing became an issue.
And then we didn't have an episode that week. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm sorry I didn't want to repeat myself. Kadabra over at Smoke to Smoke. I was a guest on their podcast again. Go listen to it. Wonderful host for our wonderful shows.
Solo episode this time for you.
Yeah, solo. Over there by myself with a couple other cool people. And we are playing some fun holiday themed games. This episode comes out December 24th. Christmas Eve if you celebrate. Sol Invictus Eve. What day of Hanukkah?
I think Hanukkah's over by then because
Hanukkah's over by
this
then.
is the second night of Hanukkah, and it's the 19th.
But yeah, wherever you are at, that episode's going to drop on the 24th. So look out for that. I'll be over there. Not going to spoil anything, but there will be a future post on our Instagram relating to the episode once it drops. It's going to be a fun time.
No, I'm sorry. The last day of Hanukkah is Boxing Day or the day after Christmas.
Okay.
So it'll be the sixth night of Hanukkah.
The sixth night of Hanukkah is when this episode's going to come out. So hope y'all enjoy. It was very fun working with them. Always is. Always a pleasure. It's a fun crew.
Yeah.
Fun time.
I like hanging out with Kadaba. They're pretty cool. We definitely need to go out Arizona,
I think.
It's either Arizona or Arkansas. I always confuse the two. But I want to say it's Arizona. You know what? They commented on one of our episodes. And I feel so bad that I'm mixing it up right now, but I'm high. It's fine.
We even talked about it on the podcast. Yeah, I'm stoned too. It's fine.
But while I'm looking this up, I also want to say happy second night of Hanukkah as of recording. As of release, it'll be the third night of Hanukkah. I've already made a tweet about the first night on our podcast, Twitter, but definitely happy Hanukkah to all of our listeners, friends, family who celebrate. I used to, when I was at Penn State, not as a student anymore, I used to do a little bit of the Shabbat dinners with Hillel.
Yeah.
And so I know how to cook kosher a little bit, but it was definitely a time that I really liked and enjoyed because we're not 100% sure if my great-grandparents were Jewish or not.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Can you get that from him?
Yeah. But
and edit this out.
But you know, that's what my grandmother said, so I was trying to figure out like how to connect with the community and everything. And I made some really cool friends. So happy Hanukkah to you guys. We hope you're having a wonderful celebration. But with that, do you want to talk about some funny dispensary stories
to
wrap up the episode?
Absolutely. I also apologize for my ruckus.
You were trying to get the cat out of something?
Yeah, he is being a butthead, and I have been trying to quietly correct him, and it didn't work.
So do you have any funny dispensary stories you want to talk of?
Oh, the fucking dude who came into my old dispensary this year, and fucking, he comes ripping on his box mod. Like, I'm not talking disposable pen 510 battery, not a fucking Jewel or anything small. A whole ass rig like I used to have.
For nicotine?
Yeah, and ripping mad at fucking clouds on our sales floor. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Needless to say, I'm pretty sure we banned him because I hadn't seen him after that. So that's what I'm assuming happened to him. But Jesus, don't, no, do you not? Do we need the no smoking signs inside the building too? Like, we have them all on the outside of the building. I mean, we could put some inside, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what his issue is.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb because then that could be like an issue of, hey, you know, this isn't a box mod. This is actually like cannabis in here, not nicotine, you know?
Yeah, and he was also very loud and obnoxious, and I don't know. Not the brightest bulb, apparently. I don't know what makes you think you could do that. It's not like he was even trying to be stealthy. That's the thing. Just thought he could come into the dispensary. I think it's another situation of like people treating us like drug dealers. We're not drug dealers. We joke about it, but like we try to have a sense of fucking like air to us a little bit. We're a medical facility.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find this thing.
Did I have anything else weird happen? Fucking dude decided he was gonna. Okay, we had our morning meeting outside in front of the door, and I wasn't here for this, but I heard it, and it's just fucking funny. So my coworker told this to me. He recounted this whole thing, and they were apparently outside, standing by the door for their morning meeting because it was nice outside. This dude whips it into the parking lot, gets out of his truck, walks up to the circle of people, throws his cigarette on the ground, folds his hands behind his back, and just stands there and looks at everybody. And my coworker goes, "We're having a meeting." And he just goes, "Oh, okay." And like shifts his weight around and just keeps standing there. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Meeting that doesn't include you. Please go away.
That what?
Yeah. Ugh.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, people are strange. Oh, and then the string of mannequins that went around our dispensary at one point. Those were some good times. Those were the good times. The string of like we took coat racks and put fucking faces on them, cutouts, put shirts on them, and then hoodies and shit, and like hide them everywhere. Scared the shit out of people. It was funny. They would move periodically, so if you were sitting in the security office, it was something that was fun to watch. Was the mannequins moving all day on the cameras because people would just stick them somewhere, and like somebody wouldn't be expecting it. Turn a corner and bam, right there's a fucking mannequin. I almost punched one of them in the face one day.
I have two things. First, Arkansas is where Cadabra is currently living.
Arkansas.
I just found their voice message that they left us, which I still don't 100% know how to throw into the episode that they responded to. So sorry, but I do have that voice message. I just don't know how to add it because I'm not 100% sure how to anchor. And secondly, that just reminds me of that TikTok sound. Oh, that's real scary. Oh, the boogly bitch. Well, here's one. My first week of working at a dispensary, I got catcalled and didn't note it.
You had to be explained.
Yeah.
That you were being catcalled.
So basically, this guy, I let him through. He misgenders me. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go with it because I don't think I shaved that day, maybe. And this was back before we had a button, so we actually had to get up and take them to the door and open the door. And he looks at me and goes, "Nice rack. How much did you pay for it?" And I'm like, I don't know, thinking he's talking about that little like shelf that's installed in the wall that's holding up the TV. It wasn't until he leaves that I actually go up and talk to my manager, or talk to like one of the higher ups. I'm like, I think he was commenting on my chest. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I had to be explained by that. We brought this up on our little like award show thing that we did recently.
That was so much fun.
The other day. Which actually I have an award here for it, as I am the weed snob of the dispensary.
It's gonna be hung by, I want to say you probably put it by your desk.
Oh yeah, that or like by here because this is our studio now, so I'm gonna put it somewhere in here maybe.
Yeah, we need to hang more posters. Posters are these guys I think also help with the sound because they're fabric wall hangs.
You're right,
but
oh, there goes the cats chasing each other.
Zoomies.
But the other thing was we had to explain to our one coworker how lesbian sex works.
How lesbians work.
And she still doesn't fully get it. She understands the basics, but she's like, I don't. And I'm just like, just what you do to yourself, you do to someone else. That's
my brain is not in a great place right now. Then when I heard that, you know what I thought? And this is rated for explicit. I can say this. Does she need a demonstration? Because technically I'd be considered a lesbian. Because I'm the non-man loving non-men.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, does someone need to show her? There's the internet for that.
I told her that. Just look at the internet.
Up.
And she's like, I don't know if I want that in my browser history.
Clear it.
I'm trying to think what else has been really funny at my dispensary. We watched a bird get attacked by a hawk.
Oh, geez.
on the cameras.
Oh, boy.
That was fun. It just basically became poof of feathers. There was a mockingbird. We have like a little tree by the entrance.
Your attack bird.
That made a nest in that tree and would attack us because they thought we were trying to attack their young.
Oh.
Just some of the shit we find, because our dispensary, we've always been proactive at cleaning because we're right next to a mall, and the mall people didn't really clean. When I started there, it took until like halfway through the summer that they actually started picking up trash around the fucking mall.
Jeez.
And I think it's because we were doing it, and they were like, "Oh, they're making us look bad."
Yeah, well, get off your lazy ass and do something.
Some of the shit we find is fucking funny. There is a bar and a smoke shop not too far from where we are, so we find cigars, crushed cans of beer, bottles of beer. We found clothes before around our dispensary. There used to be a tree, like a big tree, and they cut it down. And we found like a needle.
Ew.
And like one of those like rubber band tube things that like
Oh, boy.
people use. So we're pretty sure someone was shooting up in there.
Might be why they cut the tree down.
Probably that, or it either had because it was an evergreen, probably had a rot in it, or it was infected by the lantern flies. Because they put 2 or 3 new little trees there. It also might have been a visual hazard because it's near an intersection.
Yeah, that too. If you can't properly trim it and maintain it, and they'd have to take it out. But it was something that they could mold so you could see.
Sorry,
that was my elbow.
Then let's see what else. Vomit.
Ew.
I've been told I'm work mom because everyone's like ew, and I just see me. I'm like taking mulch right next to it and just kicking it over it, just like kicking it under the mulch essentially. And they're like, "Why are you work mom?" And I'm like, "What?"
Good.
I'm not old enough to be work mom.
I'll give you the kids when they throw up and be like, Rayven.
I take care of you when you throw up.
You do. You took care of your own throw up.
Multiple times.
I was having a rough time in the car that day.
Sorry.
That's okay. It'll be okay. I just need seat covers. Vinyl seat covers so I can just...
Yep. But yeah, no, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not 100% sure if it's throw up. It looked like from the splash pattern.
Please don't get too descriptive.
I'm not.
It's like you with the brain pizza earlier. That makes my stomach churn. I can watch people eat brain pizza. You start talking about puke when I'm trying to eat. No.
But we also have restaurants near us, and it might have just been someone's bag ripped.
Yeah.
And coleslaw came out.
Yeah, well.
So, but I didn't want to like
get too close and find
get
out.
too. Yeah, exactly. I was just like, yep. You know what? I'm just gonna kick that under.
Kind of gross.
I have some famous quotes at the store, even though I haven't been there for a year yet. Like, first one was, it was my first or second week. This older couple comes through the drive-through, and I do the whole, thank you for visiting our dispensary, because we have a drive-through. Like, thank you for visiting our dispensary. Yeah, I need your medical card and cash for your online order if you know how much you owe for it. And I get, yeah, I'd like to make a deposit.
It's like, this hasn't been a bank. Would you say this hasn't been a PNC bank?
I was like, sir, this hasn't been a bank in over 2 years. Or something like that.
Yeah.
The other quote was, we were trying to figure out a cash discrepancy. And I got pulled to look at the cameras to double check. Because, I know computer stuff.
Oh, here's the context for that story, that quote I heard.
And so they zoom in, and they're like, is that a 50? I can't tell. It was really hard to see the number, but I can make out which president on it. And I was like, yep, that's a 50. That's Ulysses.
Yep, that's Ulysses.
And so that became a quote.
I love it.
Oh,
boy.
Don't worry, you're gonna get there with your new store.
I will. They're a fun crew.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous about your employee discounts. I'm a little jealous.
They're good. I don't know if I'm going to say on the podcast.
No.
But they're good.
They're good.
They're pretty good.
They're better than mine.
Being in the union's pretty good too. I get an hour and 15 minutes worth of breaks, 45 minutes of which are paid for. It's great.
I will say I'm allowed to take breaks. Most of the time I just kind of eat and work.
I used to do that too. I don't have to now.
I never really have to. I'm just in that mentality still from working
This is going to
food.
be another shift. I'm a manager. I tell other people to do shit now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to get back in that headspace of stop fucking around and take this patient.
Yeah.
Or take lunch if it's not too busy. I'm going to help when you need me to help you, but I'm not going to pull the fucking
I'm
store.
not gonna hold your hand.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah, it seems like you got a good crew, or the makings of it.
I'm gonna take breaks.
Yeah, take a break.
Take my break. Yeah, we have a real nice staff there. We had a meeting about everything, and so everybody's on the same page. I'm pretty sure I have an email waiting for it in my work email.
Cool.
So that's another thing. Trying to make my fucking work email, they put my dead name in there. That was kind of upsetting. Been working with IT to fix it.
But your bosses.
My boss is livid about it. She's like, "This is fucking ridiculous." And then they dead named me in the IT email, getting back to me. I was like, I hate all of you. Fix it. They are gonna fix it.
That's good.
Everybody, they're definitely gonna fix it. What are you oohing? Oh, I know about that. There.
Oh, I just got our delivery notes, but it reminded me of stuff.
Delivery notes.
Yeah, our we get told of
your deliveries at work.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
So
confused.
A couple of things are launching here in Pennsylvania, especially in the Pittsburgh area for our listeners.
The
who
thing
are
that
in
you're
the
waving
same
in my
area.
face right now.
Select, which is owned by Grassroots, released their Click
Finally.
Proprietary battery pack with their cartridges. That was very similar to the packs. It's magnetic 2 tips on the bottom, which kind of click everything.
Oh wait, it's magnetic.
Yeah, it's magnetic.
The PAX is not magnetic.
It's not?
No, the PAX is not magnetic.
Well, I'm saying it's very similar to it, though.
It looks
like shape
similar,
and design. Yeah. I would say this is a little more closer to the Jewel pods, I feel like, because those are magnetic.
Those are magnetic, yeah.
I just hate that we have another proprietary battery pack system.
That's going to cost you $30 and to get pods you might not get.
True, but the battery's not that expensive.
No? How much is this battery?
Like $4. I think, if that.
I got mine at a party.
Yeah.
This is when Grassroots took us to go see the Smashing Pumpkins.
And I will say the rep was not happy about this state getting them either, but they are in a lot of other states, and I feel like this is a little more easier to get a hold of pods for this than the PAX is.
Yeah.
If you end up out of state,
happy about it?
No, he was not happy because he didn't want to bring it over because they would have to provide all of the pods for it and just add another proprietary battery pack that is already saturated in this state between Prime's Eye Crusher,
which you can't find the fucking batteries for in the pods in the same dispensary. I'm just putting that out there.
Unless you go to mine.
Both of the ones I worked at, you can't find them there.
The Dart pods.
Yeah.
With the Dart battery packs, they look like an Enjoy. The PAX pods and battery packs,
which I bought a battery for, and Strain told us in a training, yeah, we're not going to be making those much anymore, but they still use it on their fucking marketing in my store, which makes me mad. I'm like, oh, yeah, can't buy those. They're great, though. I've had like 2 of them. But, and what else? How the hell else do we have? Those fucking, the Standard Farms ones, the arrows, the arrow pods.
Oh, yeah. Those are fuckers going out the window. Just because Standard Farm's the only one that makes it. Now, apparently there's other companies in other states that make batteries for it. But if you buy one here in the States, in Pennsylvania, in the Commonwealth of PA, if you get one, they're not making them anymore from what I can tell. At least not in the western side. Maybe they're doing it on the eastern or central side, but I can't find them anywhere here. People will be getting a little adapter bit online to make it a 510 thread battery with haptic feedback.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many other batteries that do that.
Yeah, if you get a magnetic bit for like the Yokan Uni, take that magnetic thing that you put on the bottom. Like, you can use it on that battery. That's what everybody that ever one.
Any 510 thread one you can.
When we were selling those for $1 a piece, I had somebody buy 6 of them because they had the adapters they bought online. It voids the warranty, I will say. But since they're going out, it doesn't matter. That's why you're seeing more Standard Farms carts, because we got a shipment of Standard Farms carts in before I left my last place.
That's fair.
So,
but yeah, that and 1906 capsules just launched here in PA, which are really nice because they have like ones for specific moves, like boost to like help with like, on the go. I
saw those on Reddit. They look interesting.
Yeah, I think they're in Michigan was the only other place close to here that has them right now. Hopefully New Jersey maybe, but yeah, the boost.
Somebody else is supposed to be getting something real soon. They're like little lozenge things, like from Cresco.
Yeah, I think
the Sunnyside downtown that sells them.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Is that a wider spread thing? How long have those been out? I just heard about this recently.
They're fairly new. I don't know how widespread they are. I first heard of it after our time at the Cannabis Festival in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So since at least then.
Okay.
Jesus, like what, 4 months ago.
Oh my goodness. We need to reach out about them next year if we want to do that again.
Definitely should. I'm thinking about just maybe being, if we're doing the media sponsor again, just sitting at the table and talking about it.
Yeah.
But 1906 just launched. And from pictures I've seen online from other states, thanks to r/trees and other cannabis subreddits and Cannabuzz and everything, it looks like they're using cannabis and then just natural plants to create like a caffeine feeling or like a nice sedating feeling, or
so probably like chamomile for sleepy times and like stuff with B3s in it for energizing.
Yeah. Stuff for arousal. They have a love one, so it's gonna be arousing. So you can take it
and fuck on it.
It's a quote from a patient at my store that we brought up at the little party we had recently.
That's funny.
Anything else you want to talk about this week?
I don't think so. I think that's about everything.
Okay. Well, we once again, we are sorry about missing last week. Schedule kind of became a thing. We're trying not to do that super often, but it happens.
There was just so much in last week that we couldn't fit a podcast in there.
But once again, my name is Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And this has been another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Rayven here. I just wanted to make a little ad for our Patreon that we started. First and foremost, all the funds generated with this Patreon is going to go directly back into the podcast, whether that's better equipment so we can make better sounding episodes, give you guys really cool stuff like stickers, pictures, nice little trinkets from us, or be able to travel to places where there is legal weed or there's certain LGBT communities that we want to interact with and talk to, and potentially have some really cool guests come on the show. Now, right now our Patreon is bare bones, and I do apologize with that, but we hope to make it a little better as time goes on. Right now we have 3 tiers: flower, vape cartridges, and concentrates. Flower is $3 per month. Vapes is $6 per month, and concentrates is $9 per month. With flower, you get access to our Discord, the Scuttle Zone, a private Discord that we have for you guys to kind of interact with each other and potentially interact with us. We have things for like different aspects of the cannabis community and LGBT community where you guys can talk to and kind of just interact with each other and learn from each other, and learn with us. But you also get early access to these episodes. You get a day or two, basically immediately after I'm done editing the episode, I am putting it on the Patreon so you guys can listen to it early. With vape, you have everything from the flower, but you also have access to the private chat room in the Discord server for one-on-one discussions and questions for us. You'll have the ability to basically be, hey, I have a question about this certain thing, and we'll answer it at the end of every episode. we won't get to everyone all at the same time, obviously, but we'll spread it out through the month and be able to get to as many questions as we can. And then with the concentrates, you get everything from flower and vape, but you also get behind the scenes looks at what we do here. I'll show like what I'm editing and like maybe little sound files or like little clips of what we're working on. Our show notes, so you get to see that early, potentially, knowing what topics we're going to be talking about on this next episode. Pictures of stuff in and outside of the recording stuff, like things like cannabis festivals. We'll take pictures and post some of them online, but with the behind the scenes access, you get to see all of that. Basically, all the dumb faces we make at each other, all the cool stuff that we see, and all the cute things that we find. It's my hope with this Patreon that we'll be able to go far and wide and hopefully be able to see some of you guys or have some live shows in the future where you guys can come and interact with us. And obviously no pressure. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of this, and first and foremost, take care of you guys yourselves. If you don't have money to support it, or if something happens, you have to stop, we totally understand. Thanks.